So Gabrielle, thanks so much for coming down. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
It's an honor. But firstly, how are you?
I'm good. I'm a bit frazzled. I definitely rushed here when I heard because it would have been hard to do it in the morning.
Of course.
But I definitely rushed here, so I'm a bit frazzled, but I'm excited.
I'm grateful you've come down. Though. It's all good. I just want to dive straight into your journey. Big fan of MEFEATER, big fan of everything you've built. And I would just love to know about the inception of MEFEATER. Why the name? Where did it come from? How did it begin?
Great question. I feel like we always get this question. I love it because my answer always changes a little bit.
Okay.
So MEFEATER, the name stands for Music, Entertainment, Fashion, Eater.
Amazing.
So initially the name we went for at the time was FemEater, but we felt it insinuated we were eating out female parts.
Okay, I get you.
And at the time we were 7. Yeah, I know, it's crazy because it probably would have worked. But at the time we were 17. That was about 8 years ago.
Crazy.
And we just didn't want to be
outrageous.
We didn't want that. So we thought going with something that sounded like crystal meth was a stronger yet
And maybe more addictive?
more addictive, yeah.
Okay,
So we thought moving the M and the F around would make it interesting. Like when you hear FemEater, you think, okay, yeah, vaginas, or you think it's a female brand. But when it comes to like meth, it's like, what does that mean?
Good.
So we made up a word essentially. Instead of using 2 words that people know about already, we decided to make up a word. And the meth, because crystal meth is such an addicting drug, we also believe music, entertainment, and fashion is an addictive drug. So it just really made sense for us to keep the name that way, move it around.
And what were the early days like? So you said you started 8 years ago. Yeah, what was it like in the inception?
Interesting enough, it was fun. It was chaotic. It was arguments. It was...
How big was the team at this point?
We had maybe 10 to 15 people. It was a bunch of friends who were really into Tumblr at the time. We saw a lot of people getting famous. At that time we were really into Justine Skye and Glenn Brown and all these kids that were really cool to us. And we were like, wow, they're so cool. We want to do something similar. So in the really true truth of the old days, it really was just meant to be a hangout blog for all these different personalities to come in and guest blog, everyone's diary almost. We were trying to become a team. We wanted to be the MEFEATER team. So MEFEATER's focus in the very, very early days was supposed to be very singular, very more so about the influencer, less of the brand itself.
So it's the early days. There's 10 to 15 of you building this idea. Did you always know it was going to become a business? What was the mindset when you first started off?
It definitely was not. Also, I wanted to show my watch. It definitely was not a business in the beginning, for sure. It wasn't meant to be a business. It was meant to be a portfolio. Because at that time, my goal was to be editor-in-chief of Teen Vogue. I loved the brand. I loved teenagers because I was a teenager. It really spoke to the fashion side of my identity. But it didn't speak to all of my identity. It spoke to my interests, but not, I guess, what I was really going through culturally. Because they didn't really feature girls with afros or curly hair or whatever. So, or my complexion. So it just didn't feel like it was speaking to that side of me. And my goal was to go into that type of company and bring us in it. So I really respect the girls like Lindsay Peoples or Elaine. I think those girls do such a good job of showing us in those spaces because it's needed too.
For sure.
So when we started it was supposed to be a portfolio, something fun with friends. I would show it a lot in the early days to internships and different jobs, and that's how I got a lot of those jobs and internships. They were so impressed when I showed them this blog because it really looked like a media, online webzine. So they were just so impressed. So, no, not at all. It was not a business at first. It was just real. It was real fun, kind of like a hobby or a project. I mean, I really thought it was my ticket to moving up in the editorial publication world. So that's why I really focused on it as a teenager. I think I got serious about it around 2021.
Okay. And can you tell me more about the journey then? So there's 10 to 15 of you. you've banded together, you've created this amazing platform. How did it transition into, obviously, age 2021, it becomes more of a business. What was that transition like, and how did that evolution happen?
You know, I think when my mom joined, it became more of a business because she came with experience.
Cool.
So no one else had what she had. No one had life experience, no one had business experience, no one had job experience. So when my mom came in around that time, so she didn't come in right at the beginning, but she came quite close.
Super early.
So I think it was around that time where we got super solidified because that's the time we got an LLC. And then when she came on, she really revamped the whole website. The website was trash. It wasn't really cute. It was what it was. It wasn't really cute. She like taught herself how to code. Like my mom is like, she's a really cool mom. Like she's like Superwoman almost. Cause I'm like the oldest of like 9 kids. I mean they're not all hers, but
I'm first to 7, so
right. You know, so she does a lot. She has a lot of hats. So I think it got serious when she got in it. I think it got serious when I started working on Wall Street. So I worked on Wall Street as head of marketing at a hospitality company.
Wow.
And I hated it. Like, I was so disrespected, number one. I wasn't the only black person, but I was the youngest. And I think at that job...
when you say disrespected, like, how did that look? How did that feel?
So, my boss didn't call me a monkey, but he was like, this is so stupid, a monkey could do it. And this is like before like Me Too. Yeah, this is before like suing. Oh no, actually this was during suing. I didn't feel like he did it in a malicious way, so there was no need to sue for me at that time. And he had kids, and I liked his wife, and I liked him, so I didn't want to like ruin him. And stuff like that can ruin someone. But around that, I would say like I just didn't feel like I was really respected.
So you're working this job on Wall Street, you're having some issues with your manager, and you're saying that this is like a catalyst for taking MEFEATER serious?
Yeah, because I realized that at that point, I didn't want to do corporate. So, and it wasn't necessarily what I was doing, because granted, hospitality wasn't my calling, but it was more so the fact that this couldn't be like the furthest I went.
Got you.
You know, it wasn't so much of the fact that I was an employee. Actually, no, I think it was the fact that I was an employee. Like, I think at that point I realized I don't want to work for someone. I don't want to be at the bottom. Or I don't want to be at the beck and call of someone else. Like, we had to really please my boss. And it was we were a kingdom almost. Like, our boss was the king, and we were like the jesters, and we were in his court. You know, which was fine. Some people love playing court. You know, that's a thing for some people, but
doesn't feel like the modern way of doing business though, with that kind of hierarchical structure.
True. This was definitely an older company. It was an older CEO, so it didn't have that fresh, everyone's important like brand to it. But it definitely made me realize like it just didn't feel quite right. Like I just didn't want to be there.
And did you always know you were going to be an entrepreneur?
No.
Where did that stem from? Where do you feel that came from?
You know, I think because magazines were going out of business and everything was going digital, and we were growing at a way where people thought we were already like kind of established. So I thought to myself, well, people think we're this already, maybe we can be it. So if our competitors are all digital, right, and because Teen Vogue doesn't have a magazine, a print anymore, or Nylon doesn't have a print anymore, a lot of brands went digital and they focused more on production, television, and social media and events. Why can't we do the same? I think the biggest, priciest thing for all of the magazines were printing, because ink was expensive and paper was expensive. So if all of our competitors or all of the magazines I look up to are going digital, why not compete? You know, so it was better to own than to work for someone if we were all trying to figure out the digital game together.
And this is a super practical question. So there's 10 to 15 of you. How do you then transition into the structure of a company today? So you're the CEO,
right.
You're the founder. Where are those 10 to 15 people now? Like, how did that transition occur?
They're like buried, to be fair. Like, they're no longer here. A lot of them, all of them are gone.
Oh, wow.
The only one who's with me is my mom. Every single last of those early members are in the dust, and not in a way where it's negative, but in a way where it's just growth, because not everyone wanted to do a business.
I have to be honest with you. When you said buried at first, I was like, "What the heck? What is?"
You thought I meant dead?
Yeah, I genuinely thought.
Oh no, I mean the relationships are dead.
Got you. I was like, "Damn, that's deep." Okay, cool.
You know, but and actually, I guess I shouldn't say buried, because some of these people I still am close with. I'm still friends with some of those people, but it's like everyone went their own way, because not everyone wanted. We didn't all have the same dreams. The only thing we had in common was we're all creative. Some were photographers, some were website designers, some were future VCs. One of my friends who was in that founding, his name is Vincent, like he owns an incubator now out in like Texas.
Wow.
Like we all had different talents that came together at that time really well, but as we grew, we just went in different directions. People went to different schools. This was like a high school thing, you know what I mean? High school / college, because we went to a program where you did 2 years of community college or state college. It was City Tech at that time, and then 3 years of high school. So in that college, high school hybrid year, a lot of us were working on this because we needed an outlet. But after that year, people went to like, one of the guys, he's my best friend, his name is Amir. He went to Howard. Love him to death. He always calls me to do his verifications. Yeah, he called me today for one. That's why I'm shouting him out. He went to Howard. A lot of our friends went to Paul Quinn in Texas. Some friends went upstate to studies. Some friends went to New CUNYs. I went to a New CUNY. At that time, I was at City Tech, then I went to Hunter.
What's a New CUNY for those?
A CUNY is, I can't remember what it stands for, but it's a college in New York City. And it's a city college. I think it stands for like City United New York. I don't know what CUNY stands for, but my New Yorkers would know what CUNY is.
Got you.
It's just like a state school, kind of a community college, but not. I can't. Maybe it's like one thing above community. I can't really place it because it's been so long ago, and I actually don't know what they are. I went there, but I have no idea what it is. That's a shame. But that being said, yeah. So a lot of us just went our separate ways, and not everyone was into the same thing. And sometimes the business kind of even messed up the friendship, because for some of those friendships, the business was the center of the friendship. Yeah. And once they were kicked out or ousted or quit or got fired, the friendship kind of
fizzled out.
Yeah.
And where's MEFEATER now? Where are you now? What's happening now for the brand?
Wow. So MEFEATER now, I think, is in a renaissance period, because right now we're working on our 3rd campaign with Nike.
Amazing.
We are working on like fixing different things structurally within the company. We have new departments, we have new department leads. We're just in a real strong growth period. We have new covers, we're in a new city. It's just like a great renaissance period, because COVID hit us so hard. Like COVID really hit us hard, because our plan in COVID 2020 was to focus on events and focus on the agency.
Wow.
And once that happened, it knocked out the 2 ideas, because events, of course, went and then like the agency went so it's like all of our ideas crashed and burned. So when I moved here, because it wasn't really a move to Atlanta, I just moved to Atlanta, then the company came with me. But we decided just to get back to business and get back to the root of what MEF is. And to be fair, we're a digital company, so something like COVID shouldn't knock us out.
Yeah.
But unfortunately it did, because we were trying to move out of digital.
So how did you keep a positive mindset in the midst of all of that, and how did you keep going?
I broke down. Like I broke down for sure. I think the first few months of COVID, I was super depressed.
Wow.
One of my friends passed. It was so sad, because I loved him to death. He was my best friend's boyfriend, and we were talking. He was about to propose. Like, it was so sad. They just bought a house together, so it was like I was super depressed. All of our ideas, all of our because we planned 6 months in advance, 4 months in advance. Everything we planned for like fell. It all went to sugar honey iced tea. Sorry, don't want to curse. Because when you curse in YouTube, I don't think you're able to promote the video when you curse. Everything fell to sugar honey iced tea, and it was just really it was depressing. It was so depressing.
And how did you get out of that? how did you pick yourself back up?
I had to take a break. I had to figure out who I was because I started the company at 17. So as the company grew, my womanhood grew.
Of course.
So I had to just take a break and like find who I was. Yeah, who Gabby was. Because at the time too, I mean, what was I doing? Oh, I know what I was doing. So yeah, it just came back to me. It wasn't the right thing, I'll tell you that. But that being said, I just had to find myself over again. I didn't know who I was because my identity was attached to the company's identity.
And what would you say to someone else who's in like a rut, who's in a real low place and they're struggling to pick themselves up? What advice would you give to them?
Allow the emotions to overcome you, but then also allow them to fade away. Because, you know, depression and being sad, it's a part of life. You can't be like this the whole time. Like, life is like this, not this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's literally up, down.
Waves.
So, allow those sad waves to come in, grow from them, adjust to them, and then get back up. Things that come down go right back up. Things that come up come right down. I mean, it's just a part of life. So just allow your emotions to be, and don't feel bad for being sad. Don't feel you have to push yourself out of sadness. Be in it. Things are effed up, you know, and it's real feelings, and it sucks, and you know, you get disappointed, and your man cheats, or your girlfriend is hitting you, and you have issues. Like, you can't, like, you know, it's the reality. And we're not machines. I can't be super great at work if I'm not healthy inside, and that's just what it comes down to.
Of course. And I was doing my research, and I saw that after you told us all about this digital business, you're thinking of going to print.
Okay. I was so worried about your research. Oh my gosh.
Where's you gonna take this?
Yeah.
So yeah, tell me about your future plans. Yeah, I'd love for our people to hear about your print plans as well.
So, print has always been something very magical to me. That's how I fell in love with magazines. I didn't fall in love with computers or words or like looking at a phone. I fell in love with like being home and flipping through magazines, purchasing magazines because I love the photo shoot, I love the cover. So for me, going print is risky, but it's also really exciting because I think there's a lot of girls and guys like me, or girls, guys, and anyone who identifies as however they identify, very so much so like me. And I think we miss nostalgia, we miss physical, we miss touch, we miss community, we miss being a part of something. I mean, you know, people who own a Telfar, you're in a community. You're stylish, you're cool, and you're pro-LGBT. Like, certain things you buy mean something.
Cool.
So I feel like, for me, I want like our brand to mean something. Like, yeah, we're online, and yeah, like it's digital, but what if like I don't know, there's like a missile crisis, and all the computers are down, then we don't have a business. And I think about that sometimes because it's not physical.
Yeah.
So for me, I really wanted something that was physical. So for us next year, we're gonna really focus on like the print. And I want the print to be periodic. I want it to come out only once a year, and I want it to be even of a history book to tell us what happened in this year and show like the best of the best, like which photographers were killing it that year, because you'll see their work throughout the magazine, and which models were killing it that year, which brand was killing it that year. Like, I really want it to be a compilation of that year. And every year we drop it, and it's not going to be your traditional paper magazine. It's going to be more so of a book style, very Rihanna-esque, like when she drops her picture book, like big and lush, and like something that you can put on the table and talk about and flip through.
So real product then.
Yeah, real product. I feel like, you know, you just gotta do what feels right. I feel like our audience is such a cool one, and I think they're so different from other audiences and other brands. I think they really appreciate, like, just, of course, how pro-black we are, how pro-woman we are, how pro-style and fashion and everything we are, but I think they appreciate that we're just like kids going after a dream, and I think they really buy into that.
So you're going into print, and what are the other like future visions, missions you're trying to tackle?
I don't want to even say too much
because
I don't want like to expose, but definitely like there's certain things I really like because I'm realizing being the CEO of the brand is a reflection of you.
Of course.
There's certain things I really like. So if you know me, you know there's things I really like. So those things I really like, I'm going to go forward with.
Okay.
So hopefully that's a hint, but is that not a hint?
That's not a hint.
That's not, but if you know me.
So, okay, for
if
some
you
people
know
that's
me.
a hint. Okay.
So
cool,
my friends and my family and our mega fans who know me will know what I'm talking about. But, I definitely want something. I want something print. And I'll give this gem. I don't want anyone stealing this gem. I do want something physical.
Okay. Don't say anything else.
I want a lot of physicality for the brand.
Okay, I hear that.
And maybe a really cool event series. I'll throw that out there.
I love that.
And I'll throw something that's it's not a new idea, but I would love a festival or some type of like Met Gala event. This is like way in advance, but I can throw that out because people have been saying like, oh, you guys should do like a Met Gala event. So I'm looking at that.
I'm getting a table, so
yeah.
Book me in already. So for the people who don't yet know you, who want to investigate you, who want to get to know you better, what's the best way for people to interact, engage with you going forward?
Honestly, social media. But you know what? Just pray for me. I think that's how you'll get to know me better. Just pray and meditate with me. Keep me in your spirits. I don't know, I'm such an introvert. Of course you can find me on social media and you can chat with me, but honestly I don't know, just catch up with new things we're doing. I want to start a series. I guess I could talk about that. I want to start an interview series similar to what you're doing.
Amazing.
And I don't know, I guess tap into those things, but I definitely want to get into YouTube. I'm nervous with people. I've been dragged a few times, so people kind of scare me now. I won't lie to you, I'm quite a sensitive spirit. I'm a sensitive soul, so when people come at me, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of really hurts my feelings. But I definitely think that's just what we signed up for, unfortunately, and I just gotta get used to it.
I hear that. And how do you get used to that? How do you better
get used to
guard
trolling
yourself?
and stuff?
Yeah.
I think just keeping a level head and just understanding that emotions are emotions. Because I've been there. I've felt emotion. I've said some things about things that have moved me. So I get emotion. But I guess it's understanding we're all humans. So people they have their opinions and it's okay. But you just gotta know yourself and you gotta surround yourself with people who know you too. And people that are even more level-headed than you. So when you are going through something, they can say, Gab, that's not you. Or Gab, they may not understand your point, but I do. We just want to be understood, I think, at the end of the day as people, and just keep people that understand you around. I think that keeps you leveled out.
Of course. And the whole theme around this series is limitless. So my final question for you would be, what have been some of the biggest boundaries or limits you've had to overcome, whether personally or in business, to be the person you are today? And how did you overcome those things?
Mindset. My biggest weakness was mindset. I don't have a small mind. I dream big, but I'm scared. I'm super scared. So for me, I guess taking risks that may land bad, but I just feel good that I took the risk. So just taking risks helped me. Surrounding myself with people who accomplish things that I want to accomplish. Because once you realize it can be done, it breaks that barrier in your mind.
100%.
So I think surrounding myself with people that have done it, that I can talk to and tap into, and then I don't know, just meditation and just really looking at why I think the way I do and trying to break that and just go for it, because I'm super competitive. I compete with myself all the time, and I compete with my imaginary friends, and I think they're doing so well, and I'm like, yeah, why are you not doing as well? And it's really mindset. They went for it and they didn't give a F-U-C-K. They just really, 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 really went for it. So for me, it's just go for it and not stifle yourself. It's really, I feel I'm my worst enemy. I can't, and money too. Being broke sucks. In the beginning, money was really hard in the beginning. But I will say, I'm my biggest enemy. I think I really hold myself back, because when I feel weak, I lean on toxic people. That was one of the things I had to break in the business. I brought so many people in the business just because they told me they can do something, and deep down I knew they couldn't.
Yeah.
They had no qualifications, but I just was so ready to accept help or support. So I said, okay, fuck it, let's F it, no cursing. I beat that up. I was just ready. I was like, yeah, F it, let's do it. But you can't do that. Like, do you just give your kids to like a stranger because they say they can put them in the best school?
Crazy.
No, it's not. And that's what your business is. You have to protect it. There's no qualifications. You just met this.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't leave your kid with a stranger, you can't leave your business with a stranger.
Wow.
Like, I think that's really what we have to, like,
That's
I
deep.
have to look at my
That's
business
deep.
as. Because I've left it with quite a few strangers.
And you haven't been happy with the results.
Never have been. Honestly, like, people need to be vetted.
I hear that.
But when I'm insecure, I don't vet people. And that's something I had to grow out of.
That's deep. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for coming down. And yeah, we look forward to carrying on the conversation online.